Okay, so we start the fact you recently held the Uptime Live event, and it'd just be good to understand, how that went. What was the feedback?
Oh, Uptime Live, it feels like a year ago now already, Phil, but Uptime Live was a great success. The attendance rate we had compared to sign-ups was something we were told by many was unachievable. So incredibly proud of that, incredibly proud of the effort of the team. I think what we tried to create and what we understood was we needed to create an environment that was an environment that cultivated the ideas, the stepping outside the business and becoming the best versions of ourselves. We then need the participants to, go and do the remaining part, and it felt like everyone achieved just that. We've already been through what worked, what didn't work, and very, very proud that the feedback has suggested we're on the pulse when it comes to what did work and didn't work. So it was incredibly, incredibly exciting to put on. And, it's thanks to lots of the industry friends and colleagues that we've got that we were able to create a forum for all of that feedback to be amalgamated into one, and turned into the event that everyone's kind of wanted but not had.
Yeah, and in terms of the focus of that, I think you were exploring the some, if not all, of the challenges that MSPs face in, we call it the digital world. I mean, just fast moving, complex, however you want to characterize it. So just, yeah, perhaps be good to understand what those challenges, were identified about, if you know.
Yeah, so we made one big commitment at the event, which was there was no sales pitches. So everyone went into every session knowing there's something I need to take out of this. One of the unique things we had was we did have some outside industry expertise come in. So we had an EOS session, which is where they came in and just looked at the idea of a business framework, what it adds to your business, what it might constrict slightly, through to marketing, through to we had a lawyer with us, and so we were trying to create an atmosphere where we all become better business individuals, um, more so than focusing on the individual MSP challenge that we may or may not have. And I guess the thinking really there was we believe we're a services industry, much like many other services industries. We have our own niches, absolutely. But the one big unique we have is we have no barrier to entry, currently anyway. And so how do we help those individuals in the room become the best possible businesses so that regardless of the issues they face, they have a slick, efficient, and well-structured way to overcome them or overcome them using data and so on. Because we want to set these partners and non-partners, we want to set them up for success for the long term rather than here's how you sell cybersecurity, which really is just fixing a point in time problem. Actually, how you sell in general is something we would rather tackle so that we can enable them for the future as well.
Okay, and I think one of the themes, or one of the areas you encouraged people to look at, was the potentially new emerging MSP model, which is around the idea that outsourcing operations can help businesses, to your point there, help them grow, scale and grow. So just, yeah, be good to understand sort of what that discussion was, what's going on there.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit, and we have been this year, about the new breed of MSP that we're seeing. So we're seeing a very new type of MSP hit the market, and 1 in 7 of our leads actually you could categorize as this new breed of MSP, and it is an MSP that has trusted partners for finance, marketing, help desk, cybersecurity, and so on. And what it creates is it creates an MSP that sits in the VCIO, the board level of relationship, and they almost have their catalog below them of the things they could use or want to use. So what we were speaking a little bit about, which I think is very interesting, is this idea that if you are an MSP and you do all the different services for them and they don't like one of those services, currently we're so fixed to our stack that they would have to leave you and go to someone else and their stack. Whereas when we have these these catalog items beneath us and we've created a board level relationship, we can say, oh, are you not happy with your cybersecurity software, whatever it might be? Okay, we can take that out and slot this one in, and our relationship is maintained. We're still your trusted advisor. We're still your trusted partner. And we gave an analogy of this. The analogy was, I'm not lucky enough to have to use one, but fund managers. So fund managers, the way they effectively work for people that don't know, you go to a fund manager and you say, I have some money. I would like your assistance to work out where to put that money for the best returns. What they go and advise you are things you can access yourself anyway. All of these things are publicly accessible, but they're able to say, I advise you to put it here, here. They watch the news to see what's happening on each one. They stay up to date, and then they come back to you with proactive suggestions. And that's the kind of approach we're seeing this new breed of MSP take with partners for the relevant areas outside.
Okay, and you mentioned there, I mean, clearly there are a lot of aspects, but one you mentioned there was the IT help desk. It'd just be good to understand a little bit about the ongoing import. I guess it's no secret, but just the ongoing importance of the IT help desk and how it's perhaps evolving as a service, to be offering.
Oh, absolutely. I think the help desk is always going to be very important, right? It's almost where experience starts and ends for many users in certain companies. You can have board level relationships, but for 95% of the users, they'll never see that strategic element and proactive element. Um, what we are seeing become more and more important is not necessarily response times, although that is still important, but more so when you get through to someone, getting through to the right person as soon as possible. We are seeing as the average age of employee or whatever you want to call it comes down, with more Gen Z millennials are moving into senior management, etc. These people expect to not be handed from person to person to person. And so what's becoming more so important now than ever before is getting through to the right person as quickly as possible and then not being passed along the chain. Seems to be that triggers the feeling of I'm not important, etc. And so that's a big focus. And then secondly, when it comes to IT help desk in general, is we are being expected to look after more and more. And so making sure you have the right structure to facilitate getting a 365 ticket over, getting a third party ticket over, getting ISP. The list is endless now, right? And so we just need to make sure we do have the right structure as organizations to facilitate what could be a ticket of many different things.
And I'm guessing possibly related is one of the other major issues, which is AI, the importance of AI, because clearly AI and automation can help MSPs. And it'd just be good to understand, I guess, what the conversation was around AI and also the understanding or the need to understand, where AI and automation have a role to play and where good old-fashioned humans still are important. So yeah, it'd be good to understand that, what the discussion was and your thoughts as to that balance between the excitement of AI and the ongoing importance of humans.
So there were two major things came out of the event and also what we're seeing. Um, the first one being we are destined to fail because the majority of the industry is going to an event or going to an activity, seeing an AI tool, and then trying to just plug it in. I think that is the quickest route to maybe temporary success, but not permanent success. So we were trying to encourage go and find your business problems and then go and try and find tools that might help you if you want to go that route. So that's the first thing is how we get to the point of looking at AI is crucial. The second thing, we were ultimately discussing that it is yes, it's a buzzword and it's a buzzword that gives us a talking point with customers, etc. But it is a buzzword that we are once again in human nature making into something that it is absolutely not. And so we were encouraging individuals to go back to basics and let's go back to workflow, automations, flow if you're in 365, whatever. All of those tools are nowhere near 40% utilized, but we want to go and grab this new shiny thing and throw it in. and cause more complexity. So that was kind of the general messaging. From a us standpoint and what we're seeing like exactly that. We were talking to a partner just the other day about the calculator invention, just for simplistic terms. But when the calculator was invented, mathematicians were up in arms. They thought, we're going to be out of a job, we're not required anymore. This tool's come out. No, it's just a tool, and that's exactly what the messaging and what we're seeing happen in the industry. It is a tool. It complements what we do. It aids what we do in certain ways, but it is nowhere near where we all believe and think it is right now. I've had individuals send me, and I'm sure you have, Phil, in the line of work you're in. I have people send me, I've put together this blog post or I've put together this. I can tell you immediately if this is wrote with AI. And so I can immediately tell you no one's going to want to read it. And so we're just seeing the use cases not quite be where we want them to be or think they are. So let's take baby steps rather than jumping straight in, is a good synopsis of where we reached with that.
Okay, and in terms of your own organization, Uptime, what is it that you are able to help your MSP? Bear in mind that what we've just been discussing, where are you positioned? What's your proposition in terms of helping MSPs to address the challenges and also obviously grab the opportunities in this, let's say, increasingly complex digital world with all these, shiny new goodies coming along? Where is it that you give MSPs the help and support they need?
So I guess our proposition has been and will always be, I think, is we want to take away the day-to-day items so that you can focus on evaluating the right tools, making proactive strategic plans, creating the right type of relationships, etc. So we typically take away the help desk concern or worry for our partners. Two things: we mindset and mind space as a whole. Help desk is an important aspect, but it is also something, if you've done it, which I suspect many people listening to this have, it consumes you. And so there's always something you want to improve on help desk, so you never get to the roadmap, you never get to the tools you might want to look at. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we are on our own AI journey in the help desk that those partners then get access to. Because help desk is a huge part of what we do and what we've prior to last year when we were involved in some M&A, it was the only thing we'd done for 14 years. So we've built a huge data set on tickets, type of requests, etc., which meant that we were able to go down that journey very slowly, but in a methodical manner. And so we're taking lots of those steps in the help desk that partners can benefit from, but then they can come in with their customers and apply tools, tool sets, training, coming from the top down, and we're coming from the bottom up. So we're trying to create a complementing relationship. To give you an idea of the type of thing we've got, so we went straight to the bottom. We believe to create an effective AI implementation, I guess, you start at the very bottom and work up. And so we, myself and Brad, the other owner, we sat with our entry-level engineers and looked at things they were doing every day, every hour, every week, etc. And then we've started from most frequent up, just working out how to automate or capture those items. So as of now, every ticket that we receive at Uptime, and therefore for our partners, is triaged, so category and priority set automatically using AI with an accuracy level above that of the humans we had doing it for the last 13 years before it. But that is one of the very few areas we're able to use it currently because it is not ready for the next parts.
Sure. And I think you referenced earlier your sort of a customer interaction, but it'd be good to understand, and I know confidentiality might get in the way, but some of you might have to talk in general terms, but just be good to understand, one or two examples of how you are or have helped, some of your customers with their challenges, but bearing in mind what we've been talking about.
So I think one of the and this is a nice weave. I can loop maybe all the questions into one here. One of the great sessions we had at the event UptimeLIVE is we had a partner, Jim Captanino, from a company called Innova UK, and the amount of feedback we received about that session was slightly underestimated and overwhelming in equal parts. Jim and his colleagues, they all came from MSPs or box shifters, if you want to call them that. And they came together and they said, we want to form an MSP, but we do not have the skill, the time, or the desire to create an operational department. So day one, we met, created a great relationship, park that necessary for there. What they were really good at is they had really good relationships. They were very good at that VCIO board level, etc. Fast forward, they are now a £5 million MSP or $7 million, depending on which way you look at it. And they only have 5 employed individuals. Now, immediately that sort of gets the eyebrows twinging, your brain, what's going on there? They work with trusted partners for everything. They have finance, they have marketing, lead gen, us for help desks, cybersecurity. So when it comes to scale, they were able to scale and get to a multi-million pound figure in just a matter of 12, 18 months because they didn't have the same burden internally that they would if they'd done it themselves. They've now reached a point where, let's say they lost a customer. Okay, they go to their finance team, notify them, us, notify us. They go to all the people, their bills drop down. They immediately see that clean difference. So profitability wise, they've created a really powerful entity because they don't have the, I guess, the chicken and an egg an MSP would have. Maybe you have 20 engineers, you lose 2 customers. Do you get rid of an engineer or do you keep that engineer and try and grow into it? But that's now a cost, your profits changed. That whole complexity that you have when you run everything yourselves. So they're a great case study for this new breed of MSP. They were Uptime Live and spoke about it, but they are really, I think, a as good an example as you can get. And we, bearing in mind, we met Jim 7 years ago now, so this has been happening for a little while. Transparently, we've just been sat on it because we didn't have the data to support that this was an industry trend until this year.
Okay, maybe just finally, I mean, particularly bear in mind that example you've given, just, I don't know, some thoughts, advice to MSPs, as we've been discussing, they have faced lots of challenges and opportunities. Are there any thoughts and advice you can give them as to how they can, decide, if you like, what type of MSP they want to be? And say the example you give them there is very attractive. Yeah, any thoughts, advice as to what to think about in terms of making a transformation as an MSP, or at least making sure you're doing the best possible job you can for your customers?
Absolutely. 2 things. And kudos and credit to Brad, my business partner, on this one. But I think he's hit the nail on the head with the first point, which is we do have an industry where we are assumed, or we all assume that everyone wants to be the next big thing. There are many that are pushed along in that journey and encouraged to grow rapidly, etc., because that's what we all talk about. So I think the first thing is know where you want to get to. If you are happy as a 500,000 MSP, stay at that. There's no pressure. You don't have to go and be a 20 million and exit in 5 years in this way. So know what you want to achieve firstly, because I see there's an event just this week. There's one last week we were at. So many MSPs that are just being dragged along with the current of the industry, so to speak, and it takes them to burn out. And I don't want to see that for anyone. So know what you want to hit and where you want to head is ultimately the first thing. The second thing is I feel very strongly that these challenges are not going to slow down. If we go back to cybersecurity becoming a thing, and then we had COVID. Now we've got compliance as a service coming up. Then we're going to have some cybersecurity trust marks from the government. We are always going to have every year, every 2 years, the next big thing that we are all dealing with. And so the only thing, when you take a macro view on that, the only thing we can do to handle those better is become better at handling problems. And so that's where we talk around this becoming a better business leader is the best thing. It doesn't matter if the problem that presents itself next week is the worst problem or the best problem. As a business, we have a framework, we have a process. we get the right people in the room, we brainstorm, we run through a document to work out how we're going to achieve it, what obstacles, etc. So it doesn't matter what that problem is that hits us. It's not transactional, but it becomes easier to handle, more cohesive as we grow. And so I would encourage, as that second point, people to build that maturity and have a process or a standard way of overcoming these obstacles. Because I'm afraid this is not the end of obstacles. We've chosen a very lucrative, in some ways, industry, but in other ways, it's because we have not found a maturity level that we'll sit at for the years to come.
Okay, it's been great to chat to you, and some brilliant insights into obviously what went on at the event, but more generally as to how the MSP world is changing and what people need to be looking at. So Jason, really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
No, thank you for having me, Phil.